Today, we're going to have a light bulb moment. Because we're constantly being told that changes being made in our lives are for our benefit, and that new policies, new regulations, new restrictions are all for the greater good. But time and time again, I look at these and I figure out it's bollocks. The changes that we're making and we're being forced to make are rarely about helping. They're about control, money, and corporate profit. So I thought we'd have a look at the light bulb. You know, that brilliant thing we used to have in our house? Natural light. Lovely. Well, a moment in time 20 years ago, all of that changed when the world was told that banning those perfect incandescent light bulbs would be better for the planet. Do you remember? And they said it would save energy and it would reduce waste. And we were promised that their replacements, the CFLs, actually we don't talk about CFLs anymore because they have mercury in. Anyway, we were told that their replacements, LEDs, would last longer and they would cut carbon emissions, even though, of course, they were hugely more expensive. So instead of costing 50p for a normal light bulb, you'd have to pay £15, but it would last you for years. A lie. Just like today's push for electric vehicles, carbon credit schemes and net zero energy. I've been here before and I knew it was all a scam then, just like I know it's all a scam now. And that the organizations and corporations and media aren't acting in our interests, they're acting in their own. They're acting in the interests of profit. The United Nations, the World Economic Forum, there they are again, and major corporations all lobbied for this pointless but very profitable change. They told us we had to make the switch, and they dictated the rules. In fact, Parliament didn't even get a vote. Where have you heard that before? We just rolled along as part of the EU. We didn't really have a choice. But the funny thing is that no one investigated it. No one said, do you know what, this is a really shit idea and the light bulb we have at the moment is pretty good. Nope, we just did as we were told. And the point of me telling you all of this is that we're doing it again. It's just part of a broader pattern, a relentless, ongoing effort to reshape society under the guise of sustainability. And no one's really asking the questions. Like, what's the point? Are you sure? No one's bothered. We just go along with it. The EU started phasing out the traditional light bulbs in 2009, and they completed the ban in 2012 with the UK. Now, following Brexit, our government reinstated the ban, just copied the EU rules, even though, surely to God, if someone like me knew it was a scam, there must have been someone in government that also knew it was a scam. But no one did anything. We just reinstated the ban. In the US, George Bush, he initiated the phase out in 2007. Trump, of course, rolled it back in 2019, but then mental Biden got in and reinstated the ban in 2023.
Today it's lights out for many popular light bulbs. A new rule just went into effect that bans the sale of most incandescent light bulbs. They're being replaced by LED light bulbs, which are much more energy efficient. The Department of Energy estimates the new rules will save Americans close to $3 billion every year on utility bills. You can still use any old incandescent bulbs you have sitting around your house.
Other countries like Australia and Canada, many other nations, they all just followed along doing as they were told. And the justification was that supposedly incandescent bulbs were too inefficient. The claim was that 90% of their energy was wasted as heat instead of light, and that switching to LEDs would cut energy consumption by about 80%. Governments framed it, of course, as an environmental win. But it was total bollocks. I mean, seriously, total bollocks. Because that biggest argument against incandescent bulbs was that they wasted 90% of their energy as heat. But what they didn't tell you is that heat wasn't actually wasted at all. It just went into the home as heating. So in countries with cold climates like Canada and even the UK, studies showed that the incandescent bulb contributed to indoor heating, meaning that while they did use a little bit more electricity, that was actually offset by heating costs. A study in 2011 in Canada showed that, and a similar study in the UK found that the supposed energy savings from switching to LED were totally neutralized by the fact you had to turn your heating up. In winter, the wasted heat from incandescent bulbs helped to warm homes, particularly those without things like double glazing, and it reduced the need for additional energy from gas or electric. And in the summer, when it was lighter for longer, they weren't used as much anyway. Do you know what? The incandescent light bulb sounds like an excellent product, like a brilliant idea. It gave light and it contributed to your heating. Absolutely brilliant. It actually meant that incandescents were banned for absolutely no reason at all. A 2020 study found that cheap LEDs often last as little as 2,000 hours, not the advertised 25,000 hours. And consumer reviews and independent tests confirm frequent LED failures, particularly in damp conditions or in enclosed fixtures, which is probably where you need a light bulb. And they promised us that prices would fall as mass adoption increased, but no, they haven't. In fact, prices have increased. You can't buy a light bulb for 50p anymore. No one ever tells you how much energy it actually takes to manufacture the LEDs in comparison to those incandescent bulbs, which were made of very simple materials, just three in fact: glass, tungsten, and a bit of metal. But LEDs require complex electronic components, including semiconductors, circuit boards, and transformers, all with their own supply chain profits. Transformers are essential to LEDs because LEDs run on low voltage DC power, whilst most homes run on high voltage AC power, which means every single LED bulb needs a built-in power supply, which needs manufacturing, requires energy, and uses more materials, including copper and plastic. So whilst they say LED bulbs save energy, they don't include the massive amount of energy and emissions it takes to manufacture them in the first place. It's a complete lie. And where are they manufactured? Oh, that would be China, using coal-powered electricity. And studies again show that the emissions from upfront manufacturing for an LED bulb are 4 times higher than those old, innocent, incandescent bulbs. So who pushed for this scam then? Well, the usual suspects, really. The move to ban incandescents wasn't just a random decision, it was completely orchestrated. NGOs, global organizations, and corporate lobbyists pushed governments into banning them. The UN promoted global sustainability goals that included phasing out your light bulb. The World Economic Forum held deep discussions on sustainable lighting, and they partnered with corporations, like Philips, to push for LED adoption. In fact, the WEF's Great Reset sustainability explicitly includes LED adoption as part of net zero strategies. Environmental NGO groups like Greenpeace, I don't think we can include Greenpeace because, most of them have green hair and I'm not sure they looked at the science. Well, they wanted to enforce the bans as well because of the climate crisis. And then, of course, the companies that benefited were Philips and General Electric, and they lobbied heavily for the ban because they knew that they would profit immensely from LED sales. Just like farming today, large corporations back technological advances because they know that smaller competition can't compete. What better way of getting rid of your competition than changing the law that they can't afford to compete with? Can you see it yet? So the dumping of that pure little light bulb wasn't about energy efficiency at all. It was about creating a market and forcing a switch to make billions. And the incandescent light bulb was just part of a bigger trend. See, firstly, they forced you to change your light bulbs. Come forward 20 years, and now they're forcing you to buy electric cars. Next, they'll force you to buy carbon credits to lower your footprint. The light bulb ban, the EU push, the carbon credit market, they all follow the same pattern. Governments and global organizations sell a problem to the market, and then corporations sell the solution. And as the public, we're just sat in between, being pushed from pillar to post with higher costs, less freedom, and absolutely no choice at all. So the next time they tell you to switch to something green, I just want you to remember my light bulb moment. Because they lied to you then. Why wouldn't they lie to you now? So that's today's rant on the light bulb. If you enjoyed it, please leave a comment below. What other scams do you think there are out there? Tell me about them. Let's talk about them next time. Like, subscribe, and come back again. We'll talk about something else. We'll have another rant.